Have you ever paused and listened, not to the outer world, but to the storm within your own mind? The thoughts that rise like restless winds, the memories that come uninvited like ghosts of the past, the fears that tighten their grip in the silence of the night? And yet, amidst this turbulence, have you ever glimpsed a strange paradox, that the same mind which binds us in illusion, also holds the key to our liberation? Mahavatar Babaji, the eternal yogi who walks between the veils of time, once revealed this sacred truth: the mind is both the creator of bondage and the key to liberation. These words are not just philosophy, they are maps to the soul's ultimate awakening. What if your suffering is not caused by the world, but by the way your mind interprets the world? What if you are not the prisoner, but the jailer? And what if the doorway to freedom has always been within, waiting silently behind the noise? In today's sacred journey, we open the ancient scrolls of inner knowing. We walk not through theories, but through inner landscapes Babaji has whispered to his disciples for ages. You will learn how the mind traps us, how it can be tamed, and finally, how it can be transcended. This is not just a video. It is an invitation to return to your source, to reclaim your inner sky, to remember who you were before thought was born. So come, beloved seeker. Let us begin with reverence, with stillness, and with the blessings of Babaji, the one who guides without words and liberates without chains. The mind, that silent companion which walks with you from birth till death, never seen, never touched, and yet it shapes your entire world. Mahavatar Babaji, in the rare moments when he speaks through silence, teaches this with crystal clarity: the mind was never your enemy. It is a sacred tool, but only when you understand how to hold it with stillness. In its original state, the mind is like a clear river, reflecting truth, flowing in harmony with the soul. But over time, that river became muddy, stirred by desire, fear, pride, and pain. We forgot how to listen. We forgot that we are not the mind, we are the one who watches it. Babaji often reminds his disciples, not with loud sermons but with living presence, that the mind is a mirror. It can show you the face of God, or it can trap you in the illusions of ego. What determines the outcome is your awareness. We were given this mind by the divine, not to suffer, but to evolve, to reflect higher truth, to discover the infinite within the finite. Yet, through lifetimes, we became lost in the very instrument meant to serve us. Instead of using the mind, we became used by it. And so, the bondage began, not with chains, but with thoughts. Not with prisons, but with identities. Babaji, in his eternal compassion, teaches that the first step toward liberation is to see this clearly. To no longer fear the mind, but to understand it, like a master understands his tool. Because once you understand the nature of the mind, you no longer fight it. You begin to transcend it. Bondage is not found in cages of stone or bars of iron. It is born in silence, in the unseen chambers of the mind. Mahavatar Babaji, in his infinite compassion, once whispered to a disciple during deep meditation, "The prison is not around you. The prison is your belief that you are the mind." The mind is a master we began to obey without question. And so, it binds us, not by force, but by illusion. Bondage begins the moment we identify. When the thought arises, "I am this body. I am this name. I am this story," we unknowingly place shackles upon our own soul. The soul, vast and formless, begins to live within a tiny room built by thought. Babaji teaches that the mind creates bondage in three potent ways. First, identification. We merge with thoughts, emotions, roles. I am angry. I am broken. I am unworthy. These are not truths, they are clouds passing across your sky. But we forget, and we become the cloud. Second, attachment. The mind clings to people, desires, positions, memories. And what it clings to begins to own us. That which we fear to lose begins to control us. Third, resistance. The mind fights what is. It argues with the present, complains about the past, fears the future. In this war with reality, peace becomes a distant memory. Babaji, with still eyes that have seen lifetimes unfold, reminds us, you are not the storm. You are the sky in which the storm dances. And when the seeker realizes this, not just in thought, but in silence, the first thread of bondage begins to break. Many seekers travel across mountains, temples, and sacred lands, searching, striving, hoping to find something that will set them free. But Babaji, the eternal flame who watches in silence from the caves of the Himalayas, gently reminds, freedom is not a place you arrive at. It is the truth you return to, within. Liberation is not in renunciation of the world, but in renunciation of ignorance. Not in running away, but in seeing clearly what has always been. The mind says, I must become free, but the soul quietly whispers, you have never been bound. Babaji teaches that bondage is a veil, not a chain. And this veil is woven by thoughts, assumptions, attachments, none of which have real weight, unless we give it. When the seeker turns inward, something miraculous begins. Like the sun rising behind a thick fog, slowly, the light begins to pierce through. You start to watch your thoughts, and realize you are not them. You observe your emotions, and realize they come and go like seasons. You sit in silence, and discover that peace was always your nature. Liberation, Babaji says, is not something to be earned, it is something to be remembered. It is not granted by a guru, it is discovered in the light of inner awareness. The moment you stop searching outside, and sit, truly sit, in the stillness of your own being, a doorway opens. And there, in that silence, you hear the soft voice of truth. I was never lost. I was always here. That is liberation. Quiet. Natural. Undeniable. Already yours. In the sacred quiet of deep Himalayan meditation, when the air becomes still and even thought begins to fade, Babaji has been known to utter words that strike like thunder wrapped in silk. The one who watches the mind is never bound by it. This is the ancient secret whispered by sages, hidden in scriptures, and etched into the soul of every seeker, yet so easily overlooked. The mind, with all its storms, its anger, desires, fears, attachments, appears overwhelming. But the moment you observe it, something miraculous happens. You separate from it. You rise above it. You become free. If you can see the cloud, then you are not the cloud. If you can witness the wave, then you are the ocean. Babaji teaches that awareness is the blade that cuts illusion. The mind may scream, complain, or tempt, but the witness remains still, like the moon watching tides it never touches. To witness the mind means to watch without judgment. Not to fight the thought, but to let it pass. Not to grasp or push away, but simply see. And in that seeing, a gap opens. In that gap, the real you begins to emerge. Silent. Untouched. Eternal. Babaji often says, the seeker who watches his mind is like the lotus, born in water, but never wet. So do not resist the mind. Do not follow it. Simply watch it, like you would watch a flame dancing in the dark. In that moment, the chains fall. In that moment, you taste freedom. The soul longs to be free, but the path to that freedom is not paved by desire alone. It is built, step by sacred step, through to divine forces that Mahavatar Babaji holds in highest regard. Tapasya, discipline, and bhakti, devotion. Babaji once said to a disciple in quiet contemplation, the bird of liberation cannot fly with one wing. Discipline is one wing, devotion is the other. Only together can you soar beyond the mind. Discipline is not harshness. It is love turned into action. To rise before the sun in silence. To sit in meditation even when the mind resists. To choose truth again and again, even when illusion tempts, this is tapasya. Each act of discipline is a thread that weaves a new mind, one that bows to the soul. But discipline without devotion becomes dry, hollow. So Babaji teaches, let your practice flow from love, not fear. Devotion is the flame that softens the inner world. To offer each breath to the divine. To remember God in a single tear. To bow before the eternal, not in helplessness, but in surrender, this is bhakti. It is the perfume of the soul, unseen but unmistakable. When these two, tapasya and bhakti, walk hand in hand, the seeker becomes steady like a mountain and soft like a river. Babaji smiles upon such a one, for he knows. This is the mind being purified. This is the ego being thinned. This is the soul, returning to its rightful throne. With every act of discipline and every heartbeat of devotion, you are not becoming something new, you are simply remembering who you are. There comes a moment in the journey of every true seeker, when the winds of thought begin to calm, when the rituals grow silent, and even the longing for liberation begins to dissolve like morning mist under the sun. It is here that Mahavatar Babaji speaks not in words, but in presence. In the stillness between two thoughts, in the breath that no longer seeks, in the heart that no longer asks, something ancient awakens. Babaji once told a realized disciple, the mind is your first bridge, but it is not your final home. Go beyond it. Go beyond the knower and the known. What remains is that. This is the state of no mind. Not unconsciousness, but pure awareness, untouched by identity. Not emptiness, but fullness beyond description. In this space, there is no I, no you, no them. Only a vast stillness, eternal, unchanging, ever-present. The seer, the seen, and the seeing become one. It is not achieved. It is revealed when all else falls away. No technique, no mantra, no form can take you there. They can only guide you to the edge. But to cross, you must surrender even the idea of crossing. Babaji smiles in that silence, his presence luminous like the moon over snow-covered peaks. He does not say, you are free now. Because in that moment, you see that you were never bound. This is the final freedom. Not a becoming, but a return. And so, beloved seeker, we have journeyed together through a sacred truth, that the mind, mysterious and powerful, is both the creator of bondage and the key to liberation. You have seen how the mind can bind you through identification, attachment, and resistance, and how it can set you free through awareness, stillness, discipline, and devotion. You have touched the whisper of no mind, that vast space where you remember your eternal self. But now, the most important moment is this one. Right now. Because Babaji always reminds us, wisdom is not in the hearing, it is in the living. So ask yourself, will you continue to be ruled by the mind? Or will you choose to rise above it? To watch it, guide it, and ultimately go beyond it? This is not the end. It is the beginning of a deeper, inner silence, one that walks with you through every thought, every breath, every challenge. If this message has touched even a small corner of your heart, share it with someone who is also walking the sacred path. Write in the comments, what did you feel, what did you realize? And tell us, what spiritual topics would you like to explore next on this journey with Babaji's wisdom? This channel is your sacred space, where ancient truths are kept alive for the modern soul. Your voice matters. Your questions are welcome. So stay with us, dear one. Subscribe. Be part of this awakened family of seekers. And until we meet again, may your mind become your servant, and your soul become your guide.